What I'm looking forward to today and hanging out with Kay, I'm looking forward to hearing more about her company called Cold Brew and how she kind of came into it, both from like a coffee professional like perspective, like what she really enjoys about Cold Brew. Let's see, I'm also looking forward to just meeting her. I've never met her before. I just kind of see her around. My impression of her is that she's pretty bold and fearless. Anyone in my book who dances and twerks on Instagram is bold. So I'm looking forward to getting to know that part of her. Yeah.
So yeah, welcome to my neighborhood. This is Castleberry Hills. It's a pretty old neighborhood in Atlanta. This building in particular is owned by a black man named Anthony, who invests in commercial real estate. And so a majority, if not all of the rooms that are rented out here, the businesses are black. A lot of these lofts and things used to be like different mills and different like factory buildings that have been renovated for modern use. Yeah, I just really enjoy this neighborhood. It's very artsy. There's a lot of creativity here. Peter Street Station is up the road. Black Coffee ATL is up the road. Shout out to Carl, I helped him open.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a lot of black creativity here in the food and beverage industry, all concentrated in these last few blocks. Yeah, it's a concentration of creatives in here, and it's just a very cute neighborhood. Like, it's off of a major road, but once you get back here into the area that we are at in the Concept House, it becomes like really quiet and just a nice little time to just walk and enjoy yourself. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for coming to my hood and
Thanks for
what the
having
art and color Cold Brew is all about.
Yeah, my family was military, so I was really blessed to have such a diverse experience growing up. Like I was born in Florida. Then when we moved, like in middle school, that's when we were in Germany. And so for those periods of time, I had like wood shop, like Degrassi, like it was crazy. Like all those classes, like videography class, and I had a little thing on my shoulder. I still have those videos. They're very cringy, but maybe I'll show Crystal one day. I don't know. Like, what do you think of my work? But yeah, that's when I was like, wow, like people do be having nice schools sometimes, but every place was not that nice. North Carolina, when I went back for high school, it was terrible. All the military kids on Fort Bragg in Fayetteville got bused to different lower income schools that were basically in the hood. So I split my time. The first couple of years before we moved, I was at Westover, and then I went to the rival school, E. Smith. Both of those are historically black schools. So like they were around desegregation. So they were around when it was still segregated. And it's still like that off of Murkison Road, which is, we call it the Merc, because people die. Not to get too dark.
All right.
But that's just painting a picture.
Yeah.
We're painting a picture here. Yeah. That's where I went to high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, where I grew up until I was like 13, it was a really small town in Illinois. There were, I think, 2 other black kids in my school. They were siblings, and they were above me in grades, so I never got to like really see them.
Dang.
Never got to talk to them.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when they graduated, it was just me and my brother. And so it was interesting because I was raised by, we were raised by my white mom.
Oh, you're mixed. I didn't realize.
Yeah. So up until, again, 13, when my mom like remarried and we moved, it was just, Dad was out of the picture, so we were in this very white town, raised by my white mom, and like race wasn't a subject broached in school. My mom didn't really know how to talk about it with us. Like, I found out later. like she didn't know the important conversations that she was supposed to be having with us, because no one taught her either. And so yeah, going like to the school and being like, I didn't like look at myself a lot. You know, I noticed differences, and I always felt like this sense of like being uncomfortable in white spaces, but I didn't know where it's from because I was always only in white spaces. So I didn't really know like where it was coming from till like much later, like my 20s. So yeah, there's almost like this sense of like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm white. Yeah, I don't know. It was just interesting when we moved to Houston when I was 13, and the first thing I noticed was the diversity. What came to my head at the time, I remember saying that like there's a lot of variety of people, and I remember someone telling me like a bag of chips, like a bag of variety. I didn't even know the word diversity at the time.
Wow.
Like, yeah.
Precious. Oh God. How old were you when you moved?
13.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a pivotal point too.
Yeah, it was. But we were just so. I mean, I feel like white people use this word a lot. Sheltered. Not exposed to a lot. You know, I stayed home all the time and didn't really talk to people. I didn't feel like I fit in at school, but I didn't know why. So yeah, it was just very in myself, not knowing what I needed, which was other people that looked like me.
No, that's true.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like just all about that, not like finding people.
No, that's real.
I
I went to a HBCU, and that was my like from going from places that were, I mean, it was black kids around me, but like moving so much, sometimes my schools weren't predominantly black. And so I really didn't get that experience till I went to high school in North Carolina, then went to that HBCU there. Go Eagles, NCCU.
Hey.
But yeah, so that was my like, whoa, and like learning black history, like unfiltered from the professors. Like that was my moment. It was just like, whoa, like, okay, let me figure out like who I am and what I stand for, what my family has been through, and like dive into that in a space that's okay to talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
So that was really pivotal for me, and I think it shaped like kind of how I relate to people, like the traveling experience and being around different cultures, but also going to an HBCU. I think it gave me a really good balance of like, I feel like I can talk to just about anybody, but also broach those hard topics with white people because I can, you know, I know how they think and talk, and I also know what I want to say and do around them, you know, and I'm not gonna quiet that just to make them feel a little comfortable, you know.
Today I'm working on Kay's blend. I'm gonna try to match the traits of the coffee with the traits of Kay the person, as I see her before actually meeting her. So my impression of Kay is she has a boldness, she's brave, I think chocolate, I think cold brew queen. So those are what I'm looking for in this coffee that I'm making. So, okay, for the boldness, I want to do, I think, I'm going to go with this Ethiopian coffee to start, because it also has, it'll cover some of the chocolate notes. I actually have two versions of the same coffee. One is a slightly darker roast. So I think I'm gonna mix those because the darker roast is gonna help make it better for cold brew, if that's how she chooses to make it. Ooh. Okay, there's some strong chocolate notes here, which is good. Aroma's strong, so kind of that bold feel I'm going for. But how's it taste? Okay, so this smells. I definitely get a rich chocolate. I don't have to hunt long for the smell, so it smells kind of fresh, which is part of that boldness that I'm looking for. Some coffees you can't really smell right away, or you gotta hunt for the flavor notes that are present. So by bold, I just mean like very present, very much there, and that's actually very much what I get from Kay when I look at her social media feeds. She's very much herself, very there and present in the moment. I like that. Okay, going in for a taste. Okay, chocolate, bold. It's got a little bit of a nutty undertone, so I think that would also work really well for a cold brew. It's full-bodied with a little bit of sweetness. It's smooth, not a lot of high acidity, and so I think I'm happy with that.
I started color cold brew technically in 2020. The pandemic shut a lot of cafes down here, and some of them didn't make it. But my shop that I was working at full time was Little Tart Bake Shop, and the owner, Fran, but we call her Fran. Her real name is Sarah. Fran is like her middle name.
But I thought you were saying friend, like she's a friend.
Fran, like Francis, I think it's her middle name. But we call her Fran. She had to close, and that was really hard. Their business has been around for a very long time. I think they came up on like 12, 13 years this year. But at the time, like, that was unprecedented. So they weren't even sure what was going to happen. But we all voted to not be here at work, you know, with these customers not knowing what was going to happen tomorrow. I remember standing in the shop looking at my coworkers and being like, do you think we should be here right now? And it was like a busy Sunday packed with people and babies and just air being breathed. And it was just like, I don't think we should be here. And then the next day, our lives changed, right? We didn't go back there for months. And so not being in a cafe, and I don't have fancy coffee equipment at home. My setup is very meager. And so I was just making what I could, like pour-overs and cold brews. I met Mir that way. Somehow found her online and bought coffee from her, like 5-pound bags, and started just making cold brew and giving it to friends and family. From there, it kind of naturally grew into those people's friends and family asking, and I was like, I need to make a website. Like, I need to make sure I'm actually getting paid for this, because this is not free, and that I can keep up with like people's addresses they were texting me and stuff, because it was like porch drop-offs, like contactless deliveries. And so I just started bottling stuff up and putting it on their porch. I really started with green tea lemonade. And my lemonade is fire. Still caffeinated, but like I did it like a sangria, so like lots of fruits cold brewed with the cold brew green tea, and then mixed with fresh squeezed lemonade. It'll be back this summer. But yeah, so I started dropping those things off, and then slowly started experimenting with like strawberry milks and different things I saw happening in like Korea and Japan and all these other Asian countries. YouTube, I had nothing better to do but be on YouTube at that time. And I was just like, I want to try that. And I started making my own oat milk and condensing it. Like, I guess it's like Thai milk, like the milk tea kind of thing. But then I took it and tried to do it with coffee. And I like to experiment. And so after realizing as I grew and the year went on, like, oh, that takes too long. Like boiling oat milk that I made myself down for like an hour, and then adding that to a mixture, and then doing this cold brew for 24 hours. Like, I was spending so much time in that kitchen. So I kind of like streamlined things over the years. But yeah, I started during the pandemic, and Fran not only helped me in a sense of making the respectable choice to close down the cafes, but also helped us financially and helped us even with being unemployed. I actually started my kitchen in the Grant Park Little Tart. I started my business in that kitchen, their old kitchen. She signed up and turned it into a co-op for us. It was me and 2 other girls who also started doing like house baking things, and porch drop-offs, and all 3 of us together like got our ag certifications and started trapping all the bando in there. So yeah, it was always fun because people would come to get a pastry and then they'd be like, what is she doing back there? I got like strawberry pink things. I'm pouring things in a blender and there's like big bowls of stuff, and it's just like, that's not on the menu. But yeah, that's how I got started.
Okay.
What are you making?
We're gonna make cold brew. Well, we're gonna make strawberry oat milk, really, to be precise. That will then be mixed with my cold brew. And so we're gonna take all of these ingredients that you see here, and combine them to make a very delicious, very non-nutritious, nostalgic drink. Kind of reminds me a lot of Nesquik that we used to drink back in the day in the 90s. For all those who are real ones. So yeah, we're about to put the oat milk in the blender. So So we're making a half batch today. Usually I make 3 to however many gallons at a time. But this is a small one for me personally. So yeah, I think this is actually probably 1 gallon. 64 ounces is a gallon? No, half gallon. This is a half gallon.
Okay.
Yes, this is half gallon now. So yeah. Next, I like to add the sugar. All right, so next we're going to add some sugar to the mixture. I have a recipe, but today, since it's Black History Month, we're just gonna eyeball it and use the voices of our ancestors to tell us when to stop.
Okay.
Okay. I think that'll be enough. But that's why I have extra tasting spoons here, because we'll taste as we go.
Okay.
And make sure our quality control in that way. All right. So next, we're gonna add in the beetroot powder. That's the magical coloring factor for the strawberry cold brew. Once again, I have a recipe, but we're just gonna eyeball it. I'm trying not to get the big clumps because that is deceptive on how much you're adding since they're denser when they're clumpy. This is a small batch. That might be enough. I'm looking for a pigment that is a little bit more rich than the end product, because we'll have to over saturate for compensating for the brown of the cold brew liquid.
Okay.
So yeah, we got the beetroot in. You can see it's already starting to turn a little pink and drizzle down. Next thing is the piece de resistance. It's the strawberry. So once again, have a recipe, but today we eyeball.
Yeah.
And this is kind of strong, so that should be enough. Very much like, it smells like strawberry Fanta.
Okay, I was gonna say strawberry alcohol.
Well, that too. If you added this to like a house soda mix, it would probably taste a lot like Fanta. So you wouldn't think that would go with coffee, but stay with me. So that's everything. So we're gonna turn on the blender and mix it all up. Now I can already tell I need a little bit more beetroot because it's very light pink. I like to visually aim for, I try to tell people this when they help me, a Pepto-Bismol pink. This is not dark enough. So we'll add just a little bit more.
It smells really good.
It's yummy. So let's run it back. And that's it. It got a little full, so it's like all the way at the top. But yeah, this is pretty much it. That's how I make strawberry milk. I just make it in larger batches for production's sake. But now what I like to do to make sure I don't need to add any other ingredients. So that's pretty much it. It's really full because this batch is so small. So it's kind of coming off the top, but what we'll do is I like to taste just to be sure I don't need to add anything else in before I pour it into bottles and get it out of this blender. So the top part usually is really foamy. So I kind of try to get under that aeration a little bit, and I usually just scoop a little bit and see what it tastes like.
Oh,
If it's disgusting,
that's pretty.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it looks good.
It might not be
Okay.
sweet enough. That's what I'm really looking to see. If
Okay.
the eyeballed sugar was enough. I like it.
I like it.
I think it could use a little bit more if I'm giving it to customers because they're used to it being slightly sweeter.
Okay.
But for our sake, and like me, I don't really do a whole bunch of sweet coffees.
Yeah.
I think this will be fine.
This tastes good.
But usually I concentrate it just because you don't want to have it be, you're diluting it right with the coffee, so you don't want it to just end up tasting like just milk. Actually, I'm saying all that. Let me just,
Okay. All right.
Can we pause your vocals until she passes?
Y'all want some? All right. Stay professional. I got it.
You let me know which I you can't hear her.
Okay.
Probably cut this part out anyway.
Are we good?
All right. It's so it's going everywhere. The kitchen's not messy. I don't trust it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
And this is us trying to be movie magic cute, but this is not a cute process.
It shouldn't be.
It's like
Yeah,
a
they're right.
science.
I wouldn't trust it if it was just everything was neat and tidy. It's like, what?
Y'all not putting your foot in it.
Yeah.
So how can I like it if you're not putting your foot in it? But yeah, I think this will probably be a lot better. I have a feeling. Let's see.
I don't know. That first sip was hard to beat.
This will be great with the coffee.
Okay.
This will be great because it's a little more like, think about a simple syrup. Thank you. Think about a simple syrup. Like, you don't want to be able to just sip a simple syrup and it be just okay, not too sweet, because that means when it gets in your drink, it's not going to make an impact in your drink. What do you think?
Nah,
5?
sweet stuff.
Yeah,
Sugar punch me right
I was just trying to show the camera.
It is sweet.
Honestly, I wasn't giving it to you to drink.
Oh,
You said, did you want something? Held it up.
Well, yeah, but then Crystal said no. We stay professional. No drinks on.
oh,
Then she-
All right, I'll move on.
That's
let's
good.
make a drink.
Very current.
Oh, it's like the cereal milk. Is
Yes.
what it tastes like. Yeah. Oh, it is good.
And so I'm taking this cold brew. This is the first batch of coffee of this year that I've been roasting myself. I learned how to roast last year. It was on my bucket list of barista things that I wanted to accomplish, and somehow finessed my way into a roasting job with no roasting experience. And here we are now. I'm a roaster. And so I green bought these beans with the help of Mir, because Mir used to roast my beans and I would just do the brewing, not that aspect. And so we bought these beans together and picked them out, and they're from Ethiopia, Yirgacheffe bean, which has historically like been my favorite bean since I've like was a baby in coffee. That was like my first like, oh my god, I love Yirgacheffe. And so it kind of feels like full circle in that way. But yeah, so I made the roast profile. I took it all the way from green to browning or whatever, and now we're here. It's brewed, and I think it's a really nice coffee. I try to choose coffees that are like fruity, tea-like, lighter, because I know I'm mixing them with things, but I also know it needs to be a really damn fine cup of coffee when people are buying it black, because I still care about the respect.
Yeah.
Like, it's some good coffee. Period. But yeah, so I usually do 50% coffee and then 50% milk. And so I'm just going to pour it in here so some of that foam won't be on the top. So you can see it's nice and pink. So I usually do 50% cold brew and 50% of the milk. And so you can kind of get a magical visualization of how it goes. And so usually that's what it ends up looking like. It is a little bit like the colored tints a little bit. And so sometimes if I really am not happy with it, I'll like put everything back in the blender and Vitamix it until it's like what I want. But I think this is fine. Like, things vary because it's a handmade product. So that's kind of, to me, it's like that's how you know it's real, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, let's try it.
Okay.
I won't give you too much just in case you hate it. So you should get like chocolate covered strawberry milk. It's like the coffee ends up tasting really chocolatey and nutty and brings out that side, I think.
How does that happen? Because I tasted the
Science.
coffee, I tasted the milk. Chocolate covered, it really does taste like that. That's amazing.
And it's Valentine's Day. Man, I should have did a Valentine's Day special.
You should have.
Next year.
Yeah, this. Oh my god.
I am very passionate about the coffee part. The business part has been a growing opportunity for me, as they say.
Yeah.
That's it. That's how I do it.
So having never met Kay before today, I got to see Kay in her element today, making cold brew colorful. It was pretty fun watching her both explain how she made her coffee, how she made her milk. It made it seem very simple, very her, but also very much something that no one else was willing to take on. A little bit like a lot of folks in coffee kind of have to make it their own thing anyway. There is an element of intuition, listening to her ancestors, as well as the knowledge that there is no one right way to do things. So it was fun watching her have fun, talk about experimentation, figuring things out, figuring out ways to make coffee different and even convert people to drinking coffee in different ways. I got to see a little bit not only of the boldness that I associate with Kay, but also kind of what lies underneath that. So some of her background and the fact that she's had to both work on that boldness when she was young, but also hear how she's really come into it as someone who speaks her mind, is comfortable in making other people uncomfortable in the right ways.
Okay, I got something for you.
What?
Let me
Yep.
see.
Oh, cute! Kay's cold brew blend.
Yup. So it's a custom
Cute.
blend.
Okay.
I wanted to try and match like the coffee traits to how I perceived you, like your personality, your traits.
Cool.
So yeah, I did make that with the intention of it like being good with as a cold brew, but obviously you can make it however you want
Tight.
since you're the cold brew queen.
I love this, and I love your logo.
Thank you.
It's you.
It's me.
That's so cute. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.